Joining me now for a chat on the reported failed coup attempt and the detention of alleged coup plotters is Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka-Usman, retired. Is a former director of Army Public Relations and former spokesman of the Nigerian Army. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you.
Good evening.
On
Thank you so much.
Newsnight.
Yeah.
First off, I need to establish this fact or the point that initially we were told by government that no such thing as a coup attempt happened. Is it the practice, even under military administration, to downplay, the idea that there was an attempted coup, especially the ones that don't succeed? Is it the usual practice?
I don't think the long and short of it, it is the usual practice. I think almost everybody else was taken aback by, that incident, given the fact that the military itself has undergone, and of course is even an ongoing program, transformation process for 15 solid years, from 2000 to 2015, where there were doctrinal changes, attitudinal changes, and hence you have all the changes that you have been witnessing in the armed forces, particularly, expansion in terms to improve civil-military relations, but most importantly, to subject the military to democratic or civilian authority. The nuances of democracy, as it were. And having gone through that, and of course we have had an interrupted democratic governance for 26 years now.
Yeah, since
suddenly,
1999.
Exactly. So both the military and the society were taken aback, and hence the concern. And I'm not holding brief for them, but I think that issue has been laid to rest. There is a renewed understanding given by the recent statement, I think yesterday, by the Director of Defense Information, in which he referred to their October statement and said it is an update, as regards to the issue. Now, having gone, investigated the matter, and without any iota of doubt, establishing their facts, rightly, they talked among other acts of indiscipline, overthrow,
indiscipline and breach of service
regulations, and of course, attempt to overthrow democratic governance. So automatically, I think now they understand to be on the same page with the Nigerian society, because the more enlightened people are, the easier for them to be governed, because they will understand and they will even participate in the governing process.
Yes.
So basically that it is. And secondly, again, the fact that the military went through the transformation process for 15 years, and of course, initially there were no Department of Civil Military Affairs and Human Rights Desk. In fact, they were the first, before even the country could think of resuscitating the emergency toll-free number. Up to now, the Army led the way, came up with 193, and it was toll-free. There were instances, issues would be happening in Calabar when you call the headquarters was in Abuja, and of course they respond. And I could remember vividly, even when I was in service, there was a fire incident in Coup, they called it and there was response. So just to tell you the sincerity of purpose and all that. But
so what
like
you're saying, in essence, is that the Nigerian military is fully 100% subject to civilian authority. Now, the DHQ, the Defense Headquarters, has handed, the report to President Tinubu tagged indiscipline and breach of service regulations. Yesterday, I had a lawyer here to discuss this development, and he made it clear without any iota of doubt that the military has no jurisdiction to try treason under the Armed Forces Act. Help us understand how a civilian administration handles a case like this.
I believe you are talking about my very good friend and brother, Frank Tete.
Frank Tete, yes, had him here yesterday.
Fantastic gentleman and a fine lawyer. Unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to go through the, that way. But the truth is that we have to look at, whenever you're talking about that, we have to look at the doctrine of compact. By doctrine of compact, you know, and that is why some people, you tend to look at the military uniform glittering as it is, not knowing the kind of sacrifice required and the responsibilities attached to it. By doctrine of compact is that a serving military personnel is subject to military law and the civil law, as well as those international laws which Nigeria is signatory to.
Right.
So, and when you just oppose that with section 114 of the Armed Forces Act, which is civilian offenses, I'm not a lawyer, but I might not quote it right, but it makes provision for the trial of military personnel of offenses that are not even listed in the Armed Forces Act, that are civilians in nature.
Right.
And that, to a large extent, is talking about all the penal court, the criminal court, as well as those acts by the National Assembly. Take, for instance, those that establish ICPC, EFCC,
right,
as well as Terrorism Preventive Acts, and among other things.
Right.
So the Armed Forces Act has made provision for the trial of any military personnel that is found wanting, you know, after investigation and all the rest, to be tried under such instances. So we have to look at it from that perspective. That is one.
Yes.
Then the second aspect of it, definitely they are going to be tried by a court martial, which I was made to understand. I think by now they have constituted it. We have to wait when it will be inaugurated. We know the membership and when it will swing into action. Okay. So, but you look at the powers of, and I'm so sure it is going to be general court martial, which is equivalent to a state or FCT High Court. Okay. And the safeguard in respect of that is that whatever judgment the court might have passed is subject to confirmation. You know, either in this case, initially service, but now it's a joint thing. I mean, let's say Army Council, Navy, and Air Force, but now I think Defense Council. I'm not a lawyer, so but the most important thing is the issue of confirmation. Right. Then, of course, whoever that is not satisfied with the judgment has the right to appeal through the court of appeal up to, you know, Supreme Court, as the case may be. So you look at it from that perspective. But beyond that, again, the issue is that this is seemingly a new phenomenon, because we have had uninterrupted years of democratic governance in this country. This is the first time, so to speak, that attempted coup is being tried under democratic dispensation, hence the concern by my very good friend. And of course, we leave those things to the lawyers, because those that are being accused that will be arraigned before the court martial will have the benefit of defense counsel.
Does it matter the gravity of the offense now? In this case, an attempted coup, how grave is this offense?
It is very,
and
very
what
grievous.
Would be the outcome if they're found truly culpable?
I will not preempt what the court will say, but of course, such charges are very, very serious. But what I want you to understand, beyond even military offenses, court may not try a serving military personnel until his commander understands that he has committed that offense. So there were procedures that have to be met, or conditions, and over time they have done and I like Frank himself, he commended the military and of course the government for doing a diligent job in respect of that, and I think we should give them the benefit of doubt. Let's see when the court is inaugurated, and I'm so sure they will keep us updated about, you know, the proceedings of the court.
All right, thank you very much. Retired Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka-Usman, former Director, Army Public Relations and spokesman of the Nigerian Army there. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see how things pan out.
Thank you so much, Steve.